everyone, so today I'm gonna be making white rice and Spanish beans with a Spanish marinated pork chop that I'll be putting in the air fryer. I'm making it for dinner, so I just wanted to share the recipe with you guys. It's a great starter Puerto Rican dish if you guys would like to try it. And let's get started. Alright, so I'm gonna start with my white rice. In my white rice, I'm gonna dice up a garlic clove, and I'm gonna put some olive oil in here and let the garlic sizzle with the olive oil. Then I throw my rice in and the water that it needs. So I'm gonna crush my garlic clove. This is a little trick that my brother taught me. I really never used to put garlic in my rice until he told me to try it, and now I can't make my white rice without it. So I'm just gonna turn my rice on to medium heat. While that heats up, I'm just gonna continue to dice this really small. That way when you're eating rice, you don't get this really big piece of garlic. So I'm gonna try to chop that up really finely. Alright, so that's all nice and finely chopped. I'm gonna grab some olive oil. I'm gonna put about 2 teaspoons of olive oil. I am not making a lot of rice, so I'm just gonna use 1 clove of garlic. And this was a big clove, otherwise I would have probably used 2. If you're making a larger pot of rice, I would use a little bit more garlic. My sister says that I add garlic to everything, which I do. It enhances everything for me as far as flavor goes. So I'm gonna let that kind of sizzle up before I throw the rice in there. We're gonna start on our meat. I'm gonna marinate our meat in all of our Spanish spices here. The most important, of course, is garlic. So I'm gonna crush 2 garlic cloves. So I'm only making a small dinner just for us 4. So I'm only making 4 pork chops here. I dropped the garlic clove, so I had to go get another one. All right. So the best way to do this is just to hit your garlic with your knife, with the side of your knife. Making sure, of course, not to cut yourself. But that'll give you a head start on the chopping process. That way you don't have to start from a big clove. So now it's nice and flat for you already. So I opted for air fryer today. We're trying to, it's the beginning of the year, so we're gonna try to be healthy here. And I'm gonna put this in the air fryer. For those of you who don't have an air fryer, I would definitely invest in one. We make everything in there: chicken wings, French fries. You can make fish in there. You can make a lot of stuff in there. So yeah, if you don't have one, definitely Bed Bath & Beyond always has coupons, or the deals of the day on Amazon. They always have good ones. Alright, so what I'm going to do is add everything to my pilon. Since I started dicing, I just kind of continue to dice. If you don't have one of these, you don't need one necessarily, you can just dice the garlic like I just did, and put it into a little ceramic. But if you do have one of these, I like to add a little bit of salt. That gives me it like an abrasion, and it's easier to pound out, just like this. Alright, since I've diced mine already, so it's nice and small and fine. So I'm going to start adding my spices, which is adobo. I'm going to add about a teaspoon of adobo. Because I'm only making 4 pork chops, I'm not going to use this whole sazon. Sazon pretty much it's called achote. It's like a red, it's like a little red grain. And it's pretty much just to give your food color. So I'm going to use half of little half a pack in that. Also in here, I'm gonna crush some black pepper. I like the black pepper, so I put quite a bit in mine. If you're not a big fan of pepper, or you know, it's too much, just crush how much pepper you want. And my pepper grinder's acting funny. All right, so I got some brown on my garlic. I don't want it to burn, so I'm gonna go ahead and add my washed rice. And I'm not gonna give you measurements on the rice just because I don't measure my rice actually, and because you know, you're gonna be making more rice or less rice than me, then the measurements change. Also, it changes with the length of your rice. I believe this one's long grain rice if you're making medium grain, or extra long grain. It changes measurements, so go ahead and look at the package for the measurements on your rice. So I'm gonna leave that on medium heat and let that come to a boil. Add salt if desired. So my pepper grinder is new, so just FYI, take the little plastic piece off the top before you start grinding. Duh. All right, here we go. Like I said, I like mine nice and spicy, so I'm gonna add about a half a teaspoon, if not more, of pepper. And for your marinade, you can do this overnight, which is awesome. If you don't have time to do it overnight, you know, the longer you marinate it, the better it is. So try to keep your marinade in for as long as possible. I don't have time to marinate it, so I'm just gonna put my marinade right on there and throw it right in the air fryer. So to this, just so I can work with it a little bit better, I'm gonna add about 2 teaspoons of olive oil. All right, so I'm gonna go in there. You can use a spoon. I'm just gonna use my hand just because I have to rub it all over the pork anyways. So this is what it looks like. So I'm gonna go ahead and add it to my pork chops. The best way to marinate any meat is always to add all of your spices, especially if you're doing more than salt and pepper. That way your meat is marinated evenly. All right. So make sure that you coat everything. Give your pork chops or whatever meat a little bit of love. All right. So I'm gonna let that sit for a second until I'm done prepping the beans. All right, so this is what my air fryer looks like. Has a few pictures here. Oh, I should probably plug it in so you can see here. And I'll kind of show you how to work it. Some people even have one and don't even know how to work it. So today's your lucky day. You get a demo. So here's my pork chops. I'm just gonna layer them to where they're not like overlapping each other. These will shrink in size because of the fat, so I'm just gonna kind of fit them all in one layer here. You don't want to overlay meat. I'll overlay like you know, French fries and things like that, but you don't really want to overlay meat because otherwise it won't cook right. So it looks like I'm only able to fit 3. There are some air fryers that are a little bit more spacious. I'm gonna go ahead and do the 3, and I might just do this one a different way, maybe on a pan or something. That way, because this is gonna take about 20 to 25 minutes. So I'm just gonna put that in there. So it's red right now, which means it's off. I'll try to get this closer here so you can see. Okay, I'm gonna go temperature, and it's showing 360. I want to go up to 370 or 375, so I'll just hit the arrow up, And then that was your temperature, so you're gonna switch to time. So I'm gonna hit that again, and it says 10 minutes, but I want 20. I'm gonna start with 20, see how that looks. And then if I need more, I'll just increase the number. So my time is ready and my temperature is ready. You can go back and forth between your time and your temperature. So that's ready to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit start, and it turns blue and your countdown starts. All right, so here are my beans. They're sizzling really nicely. So to this, I am going to add, see how it dried out a little bit, which is okay. I wanted it to dry out, that way you start developing those nice flavors from the sofrito. I'm gonna add my pumpkin. You don't need this necessarily. You can always add a little bit of sugar, maybe half a teaspoon or so, depending on how many beans you're making, just to kind of cut from the saltiness and the bitterness. So a little bit of sugar, or you can throw a sweet, I've done a sweet potato, like half of a sweet potato. I've done that before too. All right, so that's ready. I'm gonna grab my can of beans. So I am using pink beans. These are pretty traditional when it comes to Puerto Rican beans. A quick trick, you always want to wash your lid. You never really know what's on top of this lid. So I'm gonna add the beans with the liquid. Make sure all of those come out. And then I'm gonna add a little extra water. So I'm gonna fill my can up. So it's usually a can, and then your can of beans, and then an extra can of water. So I filled mine's about 3/4. Depending on how you like the thickness of your beans, you can add less or more water. Always remembering that the pumpkin and the potatoes are gonna absorb some of the water, and then some of the water is also gonna evaporate. I like my beans a little runnier, where George likes his thicker, so we kind of have to go in between there. And if you ever need more water, you can just add more water as needed. So I'm gonna let that go. That's gonna come to a boil. The potatoes are gonna start breaking down and thicken up the sauce. So I'm just gonna add about 2 tablespoons of tomato sauce. There's a few different flavors of tomato sauce. I found one that had garlic in it. It doesn't really matter which one you get. And then I'm just gonna throw in there a few olives. I'm just gonna break these up with my hand just so I don't have big clumps of olives in there. These are pitted with the pimiento inside, with the red pepper inside. So I'm just gonna break that up in there. I'm gonna throw about 6 in there. You can do as many or as few as you want. All right, so we're just gonna let that come to a boil. All right, so here are my beans. They're at a slow simmer. They look beautiful. Just kind of give you a close-up here. You can just kind of see all the flavor. Delicious. Okay, so I have opted to fry a pork chop just so you can see the difference between an air-fried pork chop and a fried pork chop. I also wanted to do a sweet plantain. If any of you guys have not tried a sweet plantain, so you can experience what it looks like. So it's a big banana, right? Green. If it's green, it's very, very tart, just like a regular green banana. We make a lot of recipes with either ripe bananas or green bananas or green plantains. So this is what a ripe plantain looks like. So typically we kind of cut them like that at an angle. And I'm just going to keep doing that all the way down. Kind of looks like that. And these are actually fried. I pan fry mine. I usually have these in the morning with eggs. I pan fry mine in coconut oil, or you can deep fry them however you prefer. So that's my plantains sliced up. All right, so I'm here in my air fryer, and I just wanted to open this up and kind of show you guys what's happening here. I usually like to flip mine around so that both sides can get the same crispiness. But they're coming along. I would say there's about 6 more minutes on the clock right now. I might give it an extra 2 or 3 minutes just to kind of give it that nice toasty brown color. But that's what they're looking like. So all you have to do is close the door. It'll continue. Since we're on time, I'm just gonna give it about 3 more minutes. So I'm gonna go up to 9. All right, so my pork chop is ready. The one from the fryer is, and that's that one. What I'm gonna do now is just use this same oil to fry my plantains. It'll just give you that extra flavor. The plantains are sweet, and then, you know, the seasoning from the pork chops is salty, so it's going to be a nice little contrast. So for your plantains, the softer it is, the more sugar content it has. So the quicker they're going to fry up. These were super soft, so they're going to fry up in about 7 minutes. I just flipped them. I personally like my plantains almost burnt, like super dark. I won't do that today because they're for the whole family, but until you start to develop that color on the outside, and you can kind of see on here, oh, see, they're so soft they're breaking apart, but just keep them in there. I overcrowded my pan. You shouldn't crowd it this much. I was just being lazy and wanted to put them all in at once, but a little bit of space would be a little bit better. So here are my beans, and they're pretty much already made. See, the sauce is nice and thick. If it's not thick enough for you and you're trying to hurry up, what I sometimes do is take a potato and kind of squish it to the side. Here, I'll do it on the other side here. Kind of squish it to the side since it's already cooked. It becomes like a mashed potato and just thickens your sauce. So you just kind of squish it like that on the side. You take like 4 or 5 of them, and that'll thicken up your sauce. Just squish it, move it around. You can even do that to the pumpkin, kind of get like a pumpkin puree in there. See, kind of smushes up, and then it makes your sauce a little bit thicker. So here is my pork chops from the air fryer. So I wanted to show you guys that there's really not a whole lot of difference between my fried pork chop and my air fried pork chop. You see? A lot less fat. You're gonna get the same flavor. You see, you can't even tell which one was the air fryer and which one was the fried one, which is this one. So give it a shot. If you don't have an air fryer, I highly recommend that you pick one of those up. All right, so this is your complete meal. You got your white rice with garlic, your delicious beans, your pork chops, and your sweet fried plantains. So I wanted to thank you guys for supporting me and my family. Please share, like, and subscribe to the video. And as always, God bless you guys. And if you haven't checked my coffee video, go ahead and check that out. My link to my YouTube channel is right below. Check me out. Love you guys.